Hey everyone, it's Jessica, and today we're going to talk about new products from Revlon. I feel like I have not said the words new products from Revlon in a video in a very long time. And it's not that Revlon's not releasing new products, it's that I really have not been very interested in most of the things they've released. I've tried some things here or there. Like I remember trying one of the Revlon like highlighting kits and I wasn't a big fan. It was okay, but it just wasn't my favorite. But I actually have a lot of new products to try on camera with you guys. And I'm excited because a lot of them are very, very new, like a new line that they've never had before. Whereas other ones I'll show you today are kind of like maybe new shades or a new formula in a line they already had, etc. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hi. Hi, clean baby. So what is all this stuff? Hi. It goes without saying this is not sponsored. They did send me all of these products in separate mailings. I'm deciding to talk about them on my channel. As you know, I give you the good with the bad, regardless of if something's sent to me. But if you've been around my channel for a while, you already know that. So let me give you a quick preview of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to try out the Revlon PhotoReady Candid foundations and the Candid concealer. And then they also have an anti-pollution setting powder in that Candid line. They have brushes that I don't think are going to be released until 2019, but I figured I'd use them and try them anyway. And then also some new lip products. And so these are their Super Lustrous lipstick line, which I've loved for a very long time, years, and it's been around for like 100 years. But this is their new line of matte, and I think the line is called Matte is Everything. So I will be swatching these, trying them on my lips and all of that, and talking about the good and the bad there. And then their Super Lustrous lip glosses. These aren't new. And actually, it was really cool going through and swatching these earlier because I have so many favorites in here that I'd completely forgotten about. Certain shades, like specific shades that are in here, I'll show you, that I loved for years. And I was like, I completely forgot that existed. So I'm so excited to get to those. We'll do lips last, of course, because obviously I'm going to put them on my face. So let's start with the Candid foundation. I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to read to you while I put on some primers. I don't have a Revlon primer, so I'm putting on my Peter Thomas Roth Skin to Die For primer in my T-zone, and then the illuminating primer from CoverGirl everywhere else. But I'm going to tell you about it as I do that. It says, we believe in being candid in everything at Revlon, including in our makeup. That's why we're introducing the PhotoReady Candid collection with products that live up to their name by having nothing to hide and everything to show off. What do we mean by that, you ask? That's exactly what I was wondering. We formulated PhotoReady Candid to protect skin by adding antioxidant, anti-pollutant, and anti-blue light ingredients. And we took out ingredients like parabens, phthalates, artificial fragrances, artificial dyes, and oils. That is awesome. It's a step in the right direction. Can anyone name the movie that's from? After all, it's a step in the right direction. I quote that movie more than I would ever care to say. It says that it's creamy, moisturizing, and buildable. It gives you an impeccable finish. It has 31 shades. Yes, Revlon. It said, we know it's wasteful to send a full box of product you don't need. So if there's another shade you'd like to try, please email, and they give the email. So they sent 3 shades. I think these might all be too dark/yellow for me. I'm going to put one on anyway because I want to show you the finish. So if the shade's not right, trust me, I'm probably just as aware as you are. Okay, so the packaging of this is a pump packaging, which I appreciate. It's a squeezy tube pump. It only comes with 0.75 fluid ounces, which is interesting at the $10.99 price point. I'm like, what? Because most foundations come with an ounce. That's kind of more standard, right around an ounce at least. And of course, in the drugstore, most foundations nowadays are around $10, sometimes more. When you get into brands like Wet n Wild, Essence, things like that, prices drop considerably, thank goodness. But the Revlon kinds of brands, that level of drugstore, their foundations are always around $10 or above. But it is interesting that there's so much less product in. So I think I've got shade 200, 230, and 260. I think 200 is going to be as close as I can get. So it says it's buildable. What I'm going to do, I have my sponge ready to go, but I'm going to actually try to use their little foundation brush to kind of paint this on now that I've got primer where I want it. And just kind of start at the inside and work my way out. I have to admit, this is their foundation brush. I'm not typically a fan of brushing foundation on like this, but I'll do it for the vine. It definitely has a smell. It's a very Revlon-y smell. I actually don't mind it. It's not as bad to me as like the L'Oreal, like, you know, the L'Oreal lipstick smell. I cannot, it like makes me sick to my stomach. Actually, this shade is like not bad. I think it might be slightly yellow, but I mean, I can handle that. Can I ask you guys something? This is working pretty well. Now I'm gonna do check-ins throughout the day to show you we're gonna be out and about in the elements. I think it's gonna rain today. We're really gonna see how this holds up on my face because I think that's really how you know if a foundation is worth even $10.99 or not. But why okay, I mean, I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. If brands know that there is crap ingredients in their products, and they can make one with a lot less of the crap in it, like Revlon just did, and they can price it at $10.99, and maybe that's why there's less in it. Maybe it really is slightly better ingredients. So like, all right, well, you know, price-wise, when we're looking at it like that, we are a company and we are a business that's in it for business. You know, maybe we'll just put less product, but it'll be better ingredients and blah, 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 which, okay, I totally get that. But why are we still making, if it can look this nice, and hopefully it will hold up, if it can look this nice and cover this well, why are we putting those crap in it? And I know it's because it's fillers and it, again, it helps their bottom line. It's helping them make more product for less money. I do get it, but it's like, I don't know. Okay. I don't think I've ever successfully put foundation on with a foundation brush. I'm pretty impressed. I have to say I was ready to not like any of this. And I know that sounds horrible, but you know when you get a taste in your mouth about a brand after a while, and Revlon has made, like I said, they have products I've loved. I've loved the Color Stay and the Color Stay Whipped foundations, but I feel like I've been burned so many times the past few new launches I've tried that I just didn't like. And so I'm so excited that I like this. I don't feel like I need to go over it with the sponge, and I'm like looking at it up close, ready to like point something out. But if you have dry skin, this looks really nice. So let's try the concealer. All right, so this is the Revlon PhotoReady Candid Antioxidant Concealer. I have it in the shade number 15. They do have 17 shades. They claim it is medium buildable skin tone matching shades. It's got a seamless natural finish. It's supposed to hide imperfections and under eye circles. And again, this has that anti-pollution, antioxidant, anti-blue light ingredients. And it's also formulated without oils, parabens, phthalates, synthetic dyes, or fragrances. So as I look at the shades, it looks like there are 5 darker shades and then a random smattering of light and medium. And when I look at like the color way there, it seems random. It's not really light to dark, but it looks like there are like different undertones. But 17 is definitely, like I said, it is a step in the right direction. I don't think that's enough to cover everyone, but it's them taking a step. So I guess that is good. So they also have a banana shade, which I was hoping this would be, but this is the light. The banana shade is a lot more yellow. It's supposed to be really, they're claiming that it is, how did they name it? What did they say? Yeah, there's a skin tone balancing banana shade. So it's supposed to be for everyone. Obviously a banana shade is not gonna be for everyone, but okay, the doe foot is an interesting shape. It kind of flares out. I don't mind the squeezy tube with this because at the end of the day, yeah, if I don't want to use this, I could just squeeze it out because it is squeezing out that way. So it's kind of nice to have both options. I actually think the foundation actually covered a decent amount, but I definitely want a little more concealer. So I don't really know how much to use, and this is not exactly my shade. So I'm going to start with less and work it out. And I'm actually going to use that same foundation brush because I think it's kind of small enough to get in there. So concealed, not concealed. You can definitely see a difference. Let me get a little bit more kind of flared out in the traditional. Yeah, that's very yellow, but. Just to see, does it really brighten if I want it to brighten the area, almost like a cream highlight, you know. Not bad. It's definitely sinking into fine lines. Again, it's you'd be hard pressed to find a concealer that doesn't. You know, if that's really a concern of yours, I mean, I certainly have fine lines and they certainly sink into it. I kind of just embrace it. Sometimes I'll avoid putting too much concealer in that area, if any at all, and I'll really focus on the inside and down and out, but I'll really kind of leave that area alone. I end up putting you know, shadow down there a lot and it'll cover some of it. So I don't know. I kind of just find ways to work around it because I can set it with powder, and I will be setting all this with powder, and it'll help a little bit. And like, there's my favorite really expensive Charlotte Tilbury. I gotta stop talking about it, I know, but it's the only under eye powder I use. I can link below. It's expensive. It's still not it's as close to a miracle worker as I have found. Does that make sense? So let me go ahead and do the other side. So here we are, concealed and foundationed. I need to do my brows. Okay, so brows are done. This is definitely more of a medium buildable, as they said. I would agree with what they said. But I definitely need to set like my under eye. So the powder is the Revlon PhotoReady Candid Antipollution Setting Powder. There's one shade, it's in translucent. It's supposed to work for every single skin tone, and it retails for $9.99. This one has 1/2 ounce, and the reason I was waiting to put this on is because I wanted to see what the concealer did if I left it alone for 5 minutes, as well as the foundation, because I'm not usually one to always put on a powder. Sometimes if I do, it's not a loose powder, it's usually a powder foundation, ones that I love, just to provide a little more coverage. But we're gonna do it for the sake of science. And the only other brush I have from them is this powder one. It's really, really dense though. And that makes me nervous because I usually use like a super fluffy one. So I know that this has a sifter. I love the ones that come like this, where there's like a lid you pull off and it exposes it. So you can kind of have it loosely open, shake it to get some into there, and then open it and it's not going everywhere. I appreciate that, Revlon. Thank you. Got some on the brush. Let's just start where I know I need it, my nose. I'm just gonna kind of press it into it, and then I'll kind of fluff it off here in a bit. Now I have little wrinkles creeping through here, and that's a place that I feel like I either need to avoid and not put makeup in at all so nothing sinks into it, or I really do need to set. So we're gonna see how this holds up. I hate when powders are so full because it's almost hard to, right now, get the product to shake out of there unless I just have it completely open. Okay, so I've set all of that. I do want to set my under eye, but I want to use kind of maybe a fluffier brush down there. And I like to kind of get the creases out first. It definitely does not help the crepiness under there. So I think the packaging is A+. I like the light pink, and I really appreciate that sifter. So I'm gonna just kind of take a fluffy-ish brush and just kind of dust off any excess. It's not baking, it's not really my steez, but just kind of getting off if there's any excess just sitting there. Now the thing that is really nice about most loose powders is that it really does kind of blur the areas, but you have to kind of take that pro with the con of if you have drier skin or skin that tends to look textured, it can, especially dry skin and especially like wrinkles, it can make them look crepey or a little bit weird, and this one's no different. Again, we're gonna see though, because this might improve the wear time of this a ton, in which case it might be worth it, but we'll just see, we're gonna see. I think right now the look of it is actually pretty nice. Now if you get really close to me, you start to see, you know, little bits of lines and things like that, but we'll see. So I'm gonna do my eyes. I'm actually doing a separate video with the Anastasia Sultry palette. If it's up, I'll link it. If not, it'll be up in the next day or two. So stay tuned for that, subscribe. But I'm gonna do this real quick. I'll be right back so we can do the lips. So face is done, eyes are done, all of that jazz. Let's move on to the lipsticks, then the glosses. Like I said, I'll show you swatches and lip swatches of every single one of these. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about them first. So I pulled up Revlon's website. First of all, the entire line apparently has 82 shades, which is amazing. They have 4 different finishes: cream, matte, pearl, and sheer. But this line in particular is 12 new bold matte shades, they say. And it is their Matte is Everything by Super Lustrous line. It's described as a super creamy matte lipstick packed with pigment for rich, intense color. It feels lightweight, comfortable, and moisturizing. Okay, I've worn this a few times, this line. And I will say it's certainly more moisturizing than most matte lipsticks out there. Like I'm thinking of, for example, the MAC Retro Matte, that like super drying matte lipstick. This is definitely a creamier matte formula, but I don't I wouldn't say it feels like super comfortable. Now again, if you're comparing this kind of a lipstick to a liquid matte lipstick, a matte liquid lipstick, those are very dry and very uncomfortable in my humble opinion. These are a lot more comfortable. So if I'm opting for a matte shade, this is more like what I would go for everyday use. Again, it's going to transfer. It doesn't stay on all day because again, it doesn't completely dry down like a liquid lipstick. If that's what you want, you're probably gonna have to go that route. Now, one other recommendation, speaking of MAC, I don't typically love their lipsticks, but the MAC, what I just did a video on it, the Powder Kiss line, I really enjoy. Very powdery, very different feel than these because it's, just go watch that video. It's hard to explain and it would take too long and that's not what this video is about, but I definitely recommend that line. But some really, one that's like a very traditional color is the Audacious Mauve. It's a very like kind of mid-tone pink kind of a shade that kind of dries down to be a little deeper than you would expect. The Dare to Be Nude is a little bit more of a peachy brown tone shade, but then they have all of these really fun bold shades. They have Forward Magenta, Power Move, Purple Aura. Then they have like a really bright orange called So Lit. And then they have some more rosy tones. So I will show all of those right now so that you can, you know, if you are interested in any of these colors, you can see what they look like actually on the lips. So I do think that these shades in this line, the creaminess of them does differ. So for example, one of the creamiest ones is the shade Showstopper. That's what I'm gonna put on my lips now because I think it's just a fun red to go with like the yellow, ketchup and mustard. But it's definitely, and we'll see what it looks like on with this outfit. I might not keep it on. Maybe I'll do a rosy one. But it's definitely creamier than, say, Dare to Be Nude is. They're all creamy, but there is a range to the creaminess. So let's just see what this one looks like on with this outfit. It really is so creamy. I think it's too bright for this outfit, but I love this shade. I think I'm gonna switch to Rise Up Rose. So on my lips right now, because I just feel like it's very like fall vibey with this kind of, these muted colors I have on. I have Rise Up Rose and then I put Audacious Mauve on top of it. Honestly, these colors are pretty similar. But so my final thoughts on this is, if you see a shade you love, I think it's worth picking up. I think this formula is one of the best lipstick formulas in the drugstore. I've thought that for years about the entire line. So if you prefer matte, go for it. But I really like their cream line. That's my favorite because again, they're just very creamy. So if you know you're like me and you like more of just a traditional lipstick that's comfortable, any of these you're gonna have to reapply with any of the lines you go for. But I do think the cream line is the one that shines. And so that's what I would gear you towards. But if there's a shade here, I do think these are nice. Let's move on to the lip glosses. So these are the Revlon Super Lustrous lip glosses. I have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 12 shades here to try. Like I said, a lot of these are old favorites of mine that I just forgotten about. You know, I review so much makeup. I declutter over time as things go bad or things are older. All right, so the gloss is, this is how they describe it. A silky gloss that boosts hydration and plumps lips with moisture for a colorful, glamorous shine. Now, don't let that word plump throw you. These are not plumping lip glosses. I actually love plumping lip glosses, and these are not them. So it says moisturizing shine with a non-stick feel, silky gloss with non-sticky formula. Okay, we get it, non-sticky. That boosts hydration and plumps lips with moisture for a colorful, glamorous shine. Okay, so there are some like True Blue. I'm gonna put one on top of this. And then of course I'll show you all of these on my lips. My favorite, literally when I saw this was sent to me, I thought, I wonder if they still sell the shade Super Natural. It's a favy of mine. It's in the shade 215. I will agree, these are a very non-sticky gloss. Honestly, you guys, this is a gloss. It's just a very standard gloss. However, it is the perfect drugstore lip gloss because you know, I think they're still around the $10 price point. But if you find a shade you fall in love with, I don't think these are bad at all. I think it's one of those things that you don't need a bunch of them. If there was one shade that you're like, I need that shade, then go buy it. Because I do think these are nice. I just don't think they're anything better than the millions of other glosses out there. Super Natural, by the way, is just kind of a milky, light, medium-ish pink color. It's not so light, like I have pigmented lips. So if they're too light, they just look ridiculous on me. None of these are opaque. That's not the idea behind this. This is really just meant to have some color to it, and some have more color than others. You'll see in the swatches, but it's just meant to be a glossy shine. Like I said, the original like concept of lip glosses. This is like the perfect shade. You can see it's already kind of toning down that deep color, which I love. And of course, it's certainly adding gloss. You have to keep re-dipping because this is not a, it doesn't like spread well, if that makes sense. It doesn't, it glides across, it's still gloss, but it's not one that you can just dip once and go all over your lips. No, you're gonna be re-dipping because it's a very standard doe foot as well. I love the shade Super Natural. It's beautiful on its own. I mean, you're seeing it over lipstick, but it's beautiful on its own. Some other ones that were like a blast from the past were the shade Pango Peach, which is like this kind of, it looks like there's glitter in it, but it definitely looks shiny on the lips, but it's not like glitter that's gonna drive you crazy, you know, like, you know what I mean. So this is one I remembered loving for a long time. And then was this the other one? Let me see. No, oh my gosh, the dupe for NARS Turkish Delight lip gloss. That was like a cult classic for a long time. And I remember this, it's still the same. It's like this milky, milky light pink. Again, this can look really pretty at the center of your bottom lip. It's too light for me to wear on its own. I mean, it's okay, but you'll see it's maybe not my cup of tea, but it is a beautiful shade if you are into that. This is, and frankly, it's exactly as good as the NARS regular lip glosses. I don't think the NARS regular lip glosses are like leaps and bounds above. Now, when you get into the NARS's newer lines of lip products, I think those are really nice, but their standard lip glosses I don't think are any better than these. In fact, they're like very, very similar. So let's get into the swatches of these lip glosses. So as you saw, not super opaque, just a standard lip gloss, but I do still like them. I think with any of their lip lines, you've got to find a shade that you fall in love with, and then it's worth buying. But if there's none that are really reaching out to you from across the screen where you feel like you need it, I don't think you need to run out and buy these, but I do think they are nice. So there you go. If there's a sale on Revlon, if there is a coupon for Revlon, any of that, they're definitely worth looking into. And they kind of are nostalgic for me now. So we're gonna do some check-ins with the face products, most importantly. I have a feeling the lip product's not gonna last all day. I need to go eat something. We're going out and shopping, so we'll see if I keep the lip product on, or maybe I'll just put on a gloss, we'll see. But we'll check in here in just a little bit. Okay, it is 5:45. I put this on around 11, maybe even sooner. So it's been over 6 hours, I would say. And I feel like I was looking at it in lighting because we've been car shopping for days at this point. We finally got a car today. Whew. So it's been quite a day, and we had Gigi with us, which was absolutely, actually she was pretty good, but the first 2 days we had to sit her, it doesn't matter. So I have been just like kind of waiting around. I've certainly rubbed a lot off of my chin and my nose. Like I always rub things off of there, not on purpose, obviously, but let me say this. I think the powder is actually doing a good job. However, and the reason I say that is usually like blush and highlight and stuff have faded, but I think the powder kind of, even though I put the blush and bronzer on top of it, I feel like it just kind of keeps everything where it is, if that makes sense. So I think the powder is actually doing a pretty good job. And usually things have broken apart here and they really haven't. You can still see my like wrinkles there. And they're just so set in that I don't think, like, even if I like move things off of it, it's not necessarily the foundation, but I do think I do think it's easy to rub off even with the powder. So like that is evidenced by that, because there have been certain foundations I've tried where, I'm trying to think of like one off the top of my head, any of those like crazy long wearing foundations, like the Clinique one, I will link below, the Beyond Perfecting. I feel like that one lasts pretty well on my nose and chin, even if I'm touching it. And then like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, again, that's pretty drying. I don't love it for every single day, but it does stay on pretty well. This I don't think is necessarily meant to be that long wearing of one, so I'm not surprised to see that it's rubbed off even with that powder on. But the concealer, I think it has stayed in place, but I just don't think it looks good on my under eye. I just don't think it does. It's not a concealer I think I'm gonna reach for. I'll continue to try it a couple more times, but it's not one that will ever be a favorite of mine. I will link maybe my top 2 favorite concealers down below that are drugstore. For example, the Flower Beauty one is one I love that I still have to set with the powder, but I think it looks nice on the skin under my eye. And this one I don't think does. The lip product I wiped off right away because we ended up eating a little bit before we left and drinking coffee. So I just had lip balm on most of the day. But I know the wear time on those, and I know that it's, you know, after about 2.5 hours with the lipstick, you need to reapply. And the lip gloss is just a standard lip gloss. You're going to reapply every few hours anyway. So those were those 3 products. I'll check in just before bed, before I wipe everything off and see. We're going to dinner for my dad's birthday and all of that. So we'll see through dinner how that lasts. And it's about 10 p.m. We just got back a little bit ago, and Gigi's sleeping. Wanted to check in for the last time, and then I'm gonna head upstairs and probably wash my makeup off. You can definitely see a little bit more breakthrough, like on my forehead, chin still worn off, tip of my nose still worn off. I feel like you can see a lot breaking through. I don't think, again, it's not terrible. It's not that much different than a lot that I've tried that I still really, really like. But I think if I wear this again, which I will, like the foundation, I don't think I'm gonna put that powder. I don't think I like this powder, and I don't think I like the concealer, because the powder I think just prematurely aged me more than I've already aged, you know? And then the concealer I already explained earlier. I just don't think it was enough coverage, and it just looks, okay, the coverage is fine. I just don't think it looks good. I think it's not flattering. It just makes it look kind of dry, old, and crepey, and exactly what I don't want in a concealer. So I think foundation-wise, I do like it. I wanna try applying it as well with my fingers and a sponge, trying it in different ways. But maybe without that powder on top, because I just don't think it helped it. And that's one of those products that, you know, if I can just quickly apply it with my hands, it's better for my skin. At least it doesn't have some of the really bad ingredients that a lot of other ones do. And I thought it looked really nice on my skin at first. Again, it's worn off a bit. I don't think it looks terrible though. So those are my thoughts on that. So I hope that this video was helpful for you, that you know, the whole reason I started doing YouTube videos in the first place is because I would go to the drugstore, and I watch YouTube videos as well. I'd go to the drugstore and feel overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much here. I don't have that much money to spend. You know, I know that there's a sale on this brand, or I know I have this coupon. And that's the whole reason I started my channel, was to share, you know, my thoughts on, my very honest thoughts on products that are out there, to help you guys wade through all that's out there and not feel like you have to buy everything, because there's so much out there and you don't need everything. I mean, I review makeup and I can't possibly buy and use everything. You know what I mean? And it's become my job. So keep that in mind. I try to be as clear as possible in my feelings, where, you know, most products, it's not completely 100% love or 100% hate. Oftentimes it's, I mostly love it, but there's this caveat here, or I mostly don't like it, but it does have this pro. I try to be as clear cut in that way, and I hope that that comes across through the screen. So I hope that you'll subscribe to catch more of my videos, and let me know if you have any video ideas for me. I'm really trying to dig into some of the new stuff at the drugstore over the next season or two, so please let me know if there are any specific lines or products or brands you're interested in, and I will add them to my list, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.